The perfect blend of sweet, salty, and savory, this quick cooking stir-fry dish is an ideal dinner for when you're craving takeout flavors without the wait, tax, and tip. Add any fresh veggies you'd like and serve with some steamed rice for a delightful meal. First off, I've got about 1 pound of flank steak here, and as you can see, flank steak has some very pronounced grains, so you want to cut against the grain, otherwise this is going to be one chewy proposition. Since this is a pretty wide piece of meat, I'm going to go ahead and cut it in half, and then again, the grains are running one way, so I'm just going to slice on a slight bias against the grain into some relatively thin strips. You want about 1/4 inch or even thinner if you can get it. If you're having trouble doing this, pop that steak in the freezer for about half an hour and it'll be a lot easier to cut then. Next up, we're going to pop it into a bowl with some cornstarch and thoroughly coat it. You can cover it with that cornstarch and then just set it aside. I'm going to cut the stems off some button mushrooms, which I have cleaned, and then cut them down into roughly 1/4 inch or even thicker slices. We want them to have some chew and bite to them, not get totally soft in our sauce. Next up, I'm going to mince up a heaped tablespoon or so of fresh ginger, as well as about the same amount of fresh garlic. Take 1 bunch of scallions and cut the whites off. Once you get to the light greens, I'm going to go ahead and cut these into 1 to 2 inch chunks, again for nice textural contrast in the final dish. And then those really dark green tops, we can just save and cut them up for garnish at the very end. The sauce here is pretty simple. It's a 1/4 cup of brown sugar, followed by about a 1/2 cup of low sodium or unsalted chicken stock, a 1/4 cup of Shaoxing wine, or if you don't have that or don't want to get it, just another 1/4 cup of stock, a heaping 1/4 cup of soy sauce, followed by a tablespoon or so of dark soy sauce, which just provides a nice dark stain to the sauce, and a heaping tablespoon of cornstarch. That's going to be our thickening agent, along with the cornstarch that's on the beef itself. At this point, we've got all of our preparations done. It is time to cook, and I'm going to do a nice shallow fry in a wok over high heat. You could definitely do this in just a couple tablespoons of oil, but it's not going to get nearly as crisp as fast as if you have a nice shallow wok filled with oil there. Let these go for 2 to 3 minutes, making sure they're not sticking together, and when they are lightly browned, they are probably cooked all the way through because of how thinly we cut them, so just set them aside to drain on a paper towel or wire rack, and you'll want to work in batches lest you do not overcrowd your pan and kill the temperature in that oil. Once your beef is cooked through, dump out most of the oil or set it aside, leaving a tablespoon or two. We'll add those mushrooms in, keeping the skillet over a relatively high heat until they are slightly brown and have given up some of their moisture. We'll add in the green onion whites, the ginger, and the garlic, and stir this around until it is fragrant. Should only take about 60 seconds or so. At which point we can return the cooked flank steak to the party, along with our sauce, as well as those large green onion pieces. And basically we're going to bring this up to a simmer and stir everything around very thoroughly, and it should start to thicken up nice and quickly. If you want it a little thicker, you're just going to have to add some more cornstarch slurry. For me, this was just about perfect. We just want to stir it around for 2 to 3 minutes to let those green onion stalks soften a little bit, let that sauce reduce just slightly, and cling to that beautifully fried flank steak and veggies. I think this pairs perfectly with a bowl of steamed white rice, so that's what I'm serving along with mine this evening, and garnishing it with those tops of those green onions, as well as just a few sesame seeds for a little pop of color, even though there's no sesame oil in the dish. I love the way the sweetness from the brown sugar, those acidic notes from the Shaoxing cooking wine, nice body from that cornstarch thickened sauce, everything just really comes together to form a really delightful bite of food. That flank steak has a nice meaty texture, but it is not chewy thanks to the way that we cut it, and that quick hot fry we gave it to cook it through. Definitely a takeout classic here, and one which I think is much better made at home versus going to the local Chinese or Japanese restaurant. Hope you'll give it a try. Toss in any other fresh veggies you have on hand. As always, go make something delicious.